Sound Cartel.
From Sound Cartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. In this episode, you'll hear an inspirational story of how strategic pivoting, sharp messaging, and persistence can turn crisis into opportunity. When COVID hit, corporate travel management solution Locomote.com faced an existential crisis. But Locomote's owner, CEO and founder of Growth Forum, David Festuca, emerged from the pandemic with an even stronger business. David begins his story of a phoenix-like rise by describing to Jeff Waters what it felt like in the travel industry when COVID first arrived.
Well, the tough and the honest answer was we didn't, right? No one was able to transact on our system, and the system we were running at that time was Locomote.com. It's a business travel platform, and we only make money once people, actually use it to book their trips. Obviously, no travel was occurring during that time. So to actually gain new customers was quite a challenge. So when I enlisted the help of my now co-founder in Growth Forum, Luigi Prestinenzi, he really pushed me to think about how are you going to earn the right to talk to, a CFO. They were the main people who we were targeting at the time to listen about what we had to sell. So he really challenged me as what are the issues do you think that they're going to have when COVID eases and they start to let their team travel? What are the things they don't have in place now? Which, after a bit of consultation, we came out to the product didn't change at all. We just focused on a few elements of where the product really had its own USP. And that was around duty of care and governance and ensuring you know where your staff are, and then you've checked all the boxes and you've done everything you can from a company perspective to enable your team to fly. Where a lot of SMEs were just letting their staff book direct on airlines and sending receipts through, and it was a little bit ad hoc and managed by a spreadsheet. So that was the angle. So we pretty much just repackaged our message that we were going out, and it was led by the phone. So I'll be calling people cold on the phone if I had their number. Otherwise, I was using other tools to sort of derive that. And then we're saying, hey, Jeff, no, it's pretty crazy now. You're managing this whole remote workforce, but just wanted to get some time into your calendar, either today or next week, whenever you got some time, to talk about are you ready for when COVID eases and what sort of systems do you have in place? I can share some things that, we're working on with some other companies. You can apply it yourself, or, I can show you the tool that company XYZ are using. Does that sound of interest? And that worked a lot. Still got a few go-aways, for being nice, and they're probably a little bit worse than that. But a lot of them were quite nice and going, I haven't even thought about that. I've been just trying to get the team, working from home and get all that security and everything like that set up. That's been priority number one. I need to think about this. Okay, let's have a chat, but I'm not ready to buy. I'm like, cool. I started to build my pipeline from that mechanism.
It was fairly confident of you to predict that there was going to be a decrease in COVID in a time frame that would stop you going broke.
Look, it was a bit of hope, obviously. We had a good runway to self-fund the business. Obviously, there was minimal employees. My cousin and I, who reacquired the business back, we self-funded the business to keep it going, kept it very lean, obviously, during that time. So we just were on the premise of COVID has to end, we believed, that was an assumption. And when it does, we'll be in a real great position to launch back out with something that a lot more companies needed. Earlier on in the piece, it was primarily for companies that would mid-tier to enterprise. They did a lot of travel. Small to medium businesses didn't really care about duty of care and corporate governance. They just let their teams, be a little bit cowboyish and just book direct and all that sort of stuff. Where now they had an obligation to look after their staff more so. So a tool like Locomote really came into its own for that SME market.
Just briefly, how does Locomote do that?
So it enables companies to understand and approve all travel requests that come through. It integrates with the like of DFAT, which understands and pulls in live data on is the country, state, region that your employee going to safe, or do you need extra precaution from that? So trigger these alerts and potentially, depending on a company policy, an extra approval step. So it had all these little checks and balances where if an incident occurred, the company has done their duty of care to ensure that they've done everything that they can possibly do to ensure that their employees are safe while traveling.
So how did you change your philosophy or your method of sales to take advantage of the situation and make money during the situation? And secondly, how can that be applied now?
The original approach of when we're selling it, during good times was, this is an easier, faster, potentially cheaper way to manage your business travel. And a lot of companies, if travel's not their biggest spend, it can go into the too hard basket. It's not a high level of priority for us. We're okay with what we got now. So it's understanding what's going to make someone change. That's one of the issues with, whether you're a CRM, business travel, someone's potentially using a competing product now. So what is your point of view? How are you going to make someone pick up that change management piece and make the effort from moving from one system to another? Because there's a big time investment from themselves to do that. They may need to put some personnel internally from the business onto the project, which is going to pull them from one project to another. So you need to have a really strong business case. So my advice for anyone that's facing those sort of situations right now, it's, why should someone invest the time and the funds to make a change to use your service or product offering versus what they're using now? If you don't know, then you're going to have a bit of a weak sales message, and you need to dig deeper and understand your customer better in order to get to that point where your sales message becomes a lot sharper.
That was David Festuca, CEO and co-founder of Growth Forum. Business Essentials Daily is a Sound Cartel podcast. Producers are Nick Schildberger, Jeff Waters and myself. Technical production by Pete Letts. I'm Nicole Goodman. Thanks for listening. We'll bring you more Be Daily next week.
Sound Cartel.